our whole planet is worth $500 trillion if you combine all of the real estate, all of the money, all of the savings, all of the stocks, all of the everything. You combine everything and you'll get somewhere around $500 trillion. And when they say there's another $600 trillion or up to $1.2 quadrillion, so $1,200 trillion of derivatives, it just takes a life of its own, you know? What's going on? And we're live, yeah? Come on, doggy. You know, coronavirus pandemic plan that they're doing a stimulus package of $2 trillion. And I was just like thinking, like, just try to imagine $2 trillion, and it's kind of hard to wrap your head around, like, what a $1 trillion is. I mean, most people think of $1 million and they're thinking like, man, this is it, you know, $1 million and I'm good. You know, I got my car, I got my house, and I got money left over. You know, $1 million is really what you sort of need. And it's people don't really see the difference between $1 million and a $1 trillion. It just seems like a lot. Anything over $1 million just seems a lot. So it could be $1 billion. What is that noise? I mean, if you're earning $50,000 a year in 20 years, that's $1 million. So it's actually like what a person would sort of make, well, out here in America, throughout his lifetime. It would make $1 million. That's a person's life income. You know, from white collar to blue collar worker, but not really. You know, blue collar workers make a little bit less than that nowadays. When I'm talking about $1 million, you could sort of understand that it's like it's a lifetime achievement of an average, slightly above average, of course, man. So then I started thinking, what's $1 billion? You know, how do I imagine that? You know, who's a billionaire? And $1 billion is 1,000 people of these, you know, just 1,000 people that make decent, you know, this decent living. That's $1 billion. But can I have an object of $1 billion? Like, what's worth $1 billion? And when I look at like New York City skyscrapers, you know, that's about $1 billion. Like a skyscraper is about $1 billion. You know, depending on the size, of course, and complexity. But skyscraper would be about $1 billion. You know, from like maybe 500 million to about 4 billion. You know. That's a lot, you know. So what is $1 trillion? Well, $1 trillion is 1,000 skyscrapers. You know, if you put all of the real estate, together of New York City, you'll get a number somewhere between $1 trillion and 2 trillion. And that's all of the buildings, all of the skyscrapers, like all of that is worth about $1 million, from, you know, depending on how you look at it, from $1 trillion to $2 trillion. So when they want to do a bailout package of $2 trillion, that's as much as all of New York City. They could build, technically speaking, they could build a whole New York City with that stimulus package. Like, that's how much money there is. Just think of all of these buildings would be included in there. Like, and we didn't even get to the city. Like, all of these buildings are just, you know, pennies to the dollar compared to what they cost in the city, right? I mean, it's the number is just astronomical. So in the city, in a good part, $1 million gets you an average house, and $1 billion gets you a skyscraper. $1 trillion gets you a whole city. Like, everything over a large amount just seems like a lot. So might as well be you know, bajillion, quadrillion, pavilion, you know, it seems a lot. Yeah, and to understand how much money is really out there in the world, you know. What if I put all of the money together? How much is really out there? So I did some calculations and I checked online. Apparently, you know, people already done these calculations for me. And if you put all of the world's currency, let's just start with currency, for example. You put all of the world's cash, you'll get about $10 trillion. That's all the world's cash. Just printed, fiat. coincidentally enough, it's you know, if you put all of the world's gold together, you know, Warren Buffett once said, if you put all the world's gold together, it will be a cube of 20 meter by 20 meter by 20 meter. The gold cube, technically, you know, is worth about $10 trillion as well. That's our faith in gold. Our faith in gold is in terms of is $10 trillion. If you take all of the money that people have in savings accounts, money market accounts, all of those things, that is another $40 trillion. People's savings, you know, that's how much money people have, you know, invested. And the stock market is worth about $75 trillion. I mean, you could see how much money is in the stock market, a lot more than people have in cash or in hand or whatever. Now, if you think about it, like that's 75 plus, you know, what did we say, 40? Maybe it's not 40, maybe it's actually also 75, I think. Because, you know, you put all that money together, you have about like $200 trillion. You know, all of that cash, all of that savings, all of that money invested. And kind of coincidentally, you put that money with a, oh no. Coincidentally, you put that money together and you'll have $200 trillion, right? Oh man, I'm nervous at the top here, you know. So what do we say? $200 trillion. Put all the savings together and you get about $200 trillion. If you put all of the world's real estate together, you'll get also a number about $200 trillion. Now, if you think about that, you know, $200 trillion of all the money in the world and all of the investments, plus $200 trillion of real estate, like what do we have? We have $400 trillion. That's the value of our world that we've built for ourselves. Like, isn't that insane? Like, we can just, oh man, this thing. We can just put a number like that, you know? You know, you gotta account for infrastructure, let's say, you know, all right, bridges and roads and all that, you know. Let's say we add like on another 100 trillion, might as well, right? Because, you know, it's expensive. Bridges are expensive, you know, tunnels, like there's a lot of stuff we built, you know, that doesn't kind of like, you know, doesn't really reflect in the real estate, you know, market, but it kind of inflates the real estate. If you're in the city, you know, you have the subway system, you have the roads, you have the highways, you have all of this stuff. It kind of inflates the real estate price on that. Yeah, I guess. Sewers, you know, that's still money, not money, but it's still valuable. That's value. So the whole world is worth, you know, $500 trillion if we look at it from that perspective. Isn't that insane? Like our whole planet, we could put a number on it and say, hey, like the planet's worth, I have $500 trillion, I'd like to buy your planet. You know, if some alien comes in, like, would that, like, right? How would that work? Well, of course, if you start buying everything out, you know, things would get a little bit more, pricier. Well, no, wait, thanks. But it's a very like interesting concept. I was thinking about that. But we're not finished. Oh no, we are not finished. Because there's something that's called loans. That's right. People loan out money, and it's not actually part of this, you know, investments or anything like that. It's actually, a loan is actually something that we sort of borrow from the future selves in 30 years. And there's about another $200 trillion worth of loans. Kind of funny that all of the real estate is about 200 trillion and all of the loans are about 200 trillion. Like as if, but then again, like all of this real estate is actually all, you know, just loaned out to the banks. But that's another topic. Let's just stick to one topic, right? There's another thing called derivatives. Now this is where we get a little sketchy. Derivatives is technically this new money 3, like M3. The M3 value, like what is the, let me just understand the derivatives. Okay. Like I couldn't understand what the hell that is, like, or how that works. or whatnot. Oh, actually, I need to go over there. Let me see. This guy's in a hurry. This guy is not. Okay, we're gone. Oh, thank God. Where were we? Oh yeah, derivatives. Let's explain. Let's understand derivatives. So let's say I have a loan. That loan is worth something, right? Like, I gave the guy money so he could do something, and he has to pay me back this money. The way the banks do it, they actually don't actually invent new money the way, you know, when they give the loan out. Like, the money just doesn't. The money is just invented out of nowhere. I know it's a hard concept to grasp, but that's how it works. But that's a different topic. We'll get back to it maybe in a different video. But I have an agreement with somebody, his promise, that he's going to pay me back. That guy is going to pay me back this loan. He's going to pay me this money. This agreement has value. So I can technically sell this agreement to somebody else for money. And that becomes like a derivative of money, because this agreement is valuable. Jesus Christ. Look at that. Jesus Christ. Like, wow. Can you believe that? Like, that exists. And each and every one of these skyscrapers is about $1 billion. You know, more or less. So anyways, derivatives, right? I loan out some money, I can sell the loan out. Kind of like it here. I used to just drive here every single like day, you know, day in and day out. It was pretty normal. Now, not anymore. Like, it's a little different now, you know. It's nice, yeah. Yeah, I enjoy this. So back to derivatives. I can sell that loan out to somebody because somebody's promise of paying back money has value, and that's a derivative. So it's essentially somebody's paying me back money is like a bet, and selling me a bet is like I'm selling somebody a bet. It's a bet on a bet, and things like that happen in stock market. So I don't fully understand it, and like these derivatives account. And you're like, well, whatever, it's not significant. Well, actually, it is. Like, these derivatives, they account for $1.2 quadrillion. Like, you see this construction site? You know, the developer for construction site borrows money from the bank to develop it. The bank then sells that loan. He loans them the money to develop this construction site, and then sells the loan out to a different person, to a different bank, or to a different whatever. Doesn't matter who you sell it to. But that's how it works, you know? And that loan, the fact that you can sell that loan, it has value. Like, that's the best way I could describe what a derivative is. And these these loans, they account for, not these loans, but these derivatives of loans, the derivatives of everything, they account for probably, like, they stopped counting them. They stopped counting how much they're worth because it got ridiculous. But it's a good it's a good view here. Like, look at that building just rose up like that. In the last 2 years I've seen it. It's pretty sweet. Yeah. Terrible road here though, but you know, pretty nice. Gotta give it a little gas though. It's like off-roading. Take all of this real estate, and that would be $1 trillion. Insane, right? And our bailout is $2 trillion. It's the iconic shot that people always take. You can see some tourists down there that like to take a picture over there. So $1,200 trillion is all of these derivatives. $1,200 trillion. Can you imagine that? like try to wrap your head around, you know, numbers like that. Good thing we're on a bike, yeah? That's good. Well, we gotta stop, so. Jeez, this is slippery. That's slippery as fuck here. This cobblestones, yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. No, this is probably like really slippery. Like I don't even want to go on those because even though that would be smoother, I'll probably end up falling. So where were we? People stopped counting derivatives, or the M3, you know, maybe a couple of decades back, because they just got out of hand, you know. They just didn't want to scare people. But there's about 600 trillion and or to about 1200 trillion or 1.2 quadrillion in derivatives out there. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, nice. He wrapped it with the camel. You know, I cannot imagine 1.2 quadrillion dollars when if the whole world is worth 500 trillion. So two of our planets, like two of our planets, our whole planet is worth $500 trillion if you combine all of the real estate, all of the money, all of the savings, all of the stocks, all of the everything. You combine everything and you'll get somewhere around $500 trillion. And when they say there's another $600 trillion or up to $1.2 quadrillion, so $1,200 trillion of derivatives, it just takes a life of its own, you know. I wanted to give you guys like a glimpse of, you know, a visualization of you know, like how you can view money in terms of tangible things. Big numbers of money into tangible things. And I think most people don't really do that. Most people just think that, you know, something over $1 million is just a lot. Therefore, it doesn't matter if it's $1 billion or $1 trillion. It's just a lot.